So let's begin by importing one of the JSON file, which will help you understand how to work with a non-regulated data, a formatted data which is not into rows and columns. So JSON, if I have to give you a background, is a syntax, a programming syntax written in a key value pair, and a value part in itself can have lot many key values in it in a form of list. So ultimately, if you are parsing a JSON which has the names of the columns as well as the values of the columns in the form of key value pairs, how would you go about doing it? And what you need to do to work with such data? So let's import a sample JSON file which I've already downloaded, and let's see what happens. So as I try to import, it opens this window of Power Query Editor. The JSON file sits right here. Only difference over here is it is not showing the data the way we want to see. So what we do is we'll first explore the data by clicking next to the list. It shows it's a record. So if you want to import this kind of data, you can convert this into table, and that data is shown over here, right? If you want to insert this kind of data, you would have to explore the record. In this, there is a big list of data, and you say expand, and this is the data what you have. So this data, if you want to explore, you say convert it into a table. So this is the data which has a key and the value, a typical property of a JSON file. So now, while playing with this, we would see how to convert this into row and columns. So if I have to take you over here, we would try to first check. So what we do over here is we see the first column has the column names and the second column has all the values. What we need to do is click on transform. You see transpose. Essentially, this is the same functionality what we get in Excel. We'll have to move rows into columns. So in this, these rows will become column. What we now see is the first row is basically the headers. In this case, we can go back to home and we can say use first column as the names, and it is done. Now this thing is change of values. If you have anything to replace, so instead of PO, I don't like PO, I want to say POT. So you can always write it as PO, make it to POT, and I say okay. In this case, it didn't replace. So what happened? We'll try to adjust it. So it's this advanced match cell contents, entire cell contents, and you say okay. Now what does it happen? Does it change? No, it doesn't. Basically, it did not change. So this value did not work. We need to redo it. Let's say remove errors, replace value. Can we replace a value PO with POT, port? Yes, now it's done. So we've selected the column which we want to replace. Now we would like to add a column. So if there is a split of a column which we probably want to remove those extra hashes, we could do so. Let's make everything as upper, capitalize each word, and that's done. And now what we'll do is we'll select the entire table, and now we would say this, and we'll go ahead. If there are errors, queries, keep errors, keep duplicates. If you want to remove duplicates, there's an option to remove duplicates. We can choose columns what we want to. In this case, let's see if we can add or remove a value over here. You can go to column, we can split a column. We've already seen it before. We can append and merge queries. There is an option of duplicate and reference. So in this case, if we create a duplicate of a table in this scenario, this entire table gets copied over to another table with another name. And in that case, it can create its own relationships, maintenance or relationship. Sometimes it's important, although it adds the workflow on the Power BI desktop. Sometimes it's better to work as a reference. So there would be two tables, but both of them would refer the same physical table. As in programming, what we say, it is by reference. And any update on any of these tables would effectively impact and display the effect on the second table, which is not true in case of duplicate. In this case, so this is very important to understand. Do we want to refer the table or do we want to duplicate it? So as soon as we clicked on it, the source changed. When you clicked on it, it is here. So this is a duplicate error. If we create a duplicate, we can have a third table, which as of now is copy of the same table. This one does not have anything. So these are the minor differences what we have. If you look closely in the advanced query locator, you will find all the details what we did actually from the front end on the right under the applied steps. That thing gets logged over here. So in a way, you do not need to learn this query language, which is M. It gets auto-generated. And it's better to get it done in that way while you are learning Power BI for the first time. Going forward, if you have new properties to work with, you can definitely make use of these. You can create new parameters up for your calculations. Data sources is what we use right now. And yes, this is what we do with the transforming of incoming data or JSON data into a tabular format.